The Energetic Sun, Chapter 3, Part 2. Beginning on page 38. Which hemisphere are you in? Put a rubber band around the middle of a ball from left to right. The band is just like the equator, an imaginary line that divides the Earth into two halves. The northern and the southern hemisphere. Hemi equals half, sphere equals ball. Picture a band dividing the ball the other way, up and down. Now you are looking at the eastern and western hemispheres. Do you know which hemisphere North America is in? Now shine a flashlight on the ball as shown. Notice how the light shines on the rubber band, compared with the way it shines on the top and bottom of the ball. Rotate the ball without moving the flashlight. Does the way the light hits the rubber band change as the ball turns? The equator always receives more of the sun's energy than the poles. With all that hot air, the equator is usually an area of low pressure. See pages 23 to 24. See how much less of the sun's heat hits the north and south poles, the top and bottom of your ball? These regions are always cold, so they are almost always areas of high pressure. Answer: North America is in the northern and western hemisphere. The reason for the seasons. Notice how the Earth is always at a tilt as it orbits, moves completely around the sun. Although the equator receives a constant amount of heat from the sun, because of this angle, the rest of the Earth receives different amounts of the sun's energy, and this creates our four seasons. When the northern hemisphere is tilted toward the sun, it receives more hours of daylight and stronger sunlight, and the people living there have summer. Meanwhile, in the southern hemisphere, it's winter. See how the northern hemisphere is tilted away from the sun during its winter? At that time, the days are shorter and the sunlight is not as intense because it is lower in the sky. Meanwhile, the southern hemisphere is enjoying long and warm summer days. In the spring and fall, the Earth is not leaning toward or away from the sun, so it's neither very hot nor very cold. But there's a lot of mixing of warm and cold air during those seasons. All that unsettled air means strong thunderstorms and sometimes hail and tornadoes for many parts of North America. Ask Mark. As a forecaster, what season do you enjoy the most? I enjoy them all. If the Earth just stayed in one place, our weather would be the same all year and I'd be out of a job. But with the Earth always moving around the sun, here in North America, the changing weather conditions that make up our seasons keeps things interesting for me as a weather forecaster. A cape for all seasons. Celebrate the seasons with a weather collage you can wear. Here's what you need: an old sheet, marker, scissors, tape measure, decorations, and glue. Here's what you do. Wrap the sheet around your shoulders like a cape. Ask a friend to mark with the marker where the sheet hits the floor. Leave extra material and back so it will drag a little. Cut along the mark and discard the excess. In the center of the top edge, about 2 inches in from the edge of the sheet, draw a circle that is 10 inches in diameter. Ask a grown-up to help and cut out the hole. With the marker and tape measure, divide your cape into 4 sections of equal size. Using old magazines and newspapers, fabric scraps, nature finds, and markers, glue on decorations appropriate for each season. Beach balls and a big sun for summer, photos of skiers or headlines about snow and ice for winter, leaves for fall. Groundhog Day, weather lore. What animal tells us whether spring will be early or late? The groundhog, of course. Groundhog Day, February 2nd, was first celebrated by farmers in Germany, who then brought the tradition to the United States. According to longtime legend, if the groundhog wakes up from hibernating and comes out of his den only to be frightened by his shadow, he'll crawl back in and there will be 6 more weeks of winter. If he doesn't see his shadow, spring is on the way. Ask Mark. Is there any truth to Groundhog Day? As a weather predictor, the groundhog is wrong more than he's right, but don't blame him. People probably didn't watch the groundhog for years and connect his behavior with a weather event the way they did with sunrises and sunsets. See pages 29 to 30. Instead, Groundhog Day started in Europe, where it had many names but one date. February 2nd is the traditional halfway mark between the first day of winter and the first day of spring. In France, there were traditions of bears coming out of their caves, and in Germany, farmers watched for badgers. There's a lot of tradition and fun, but not much science. Catch some rays. Here's what you need: a thermometer, 2 aluminum pie pans, 1 filled with water and 1 filled with soil. Here's what you do. Place the pans in a sunny spot. For several days, measure the temperature of the water and the soil. Allow the thermometer to return to the starting point between measurements. Take readings in the morning and at the end of the day and record your measurements in your weather log. Which pan has the higher temperature? Which pan changes the most when the sun goes down? Firing up the weather machine. Dark colors and heavy materials like soil or pavement soak up the sun's light. Light colors and softer materials like water or grass reflect, send back, some of that heat into the atmosphere. The air temperature over a place that absorbs the heat is higher than it is over places that reflect it. Air keeps moving from these cool, high-pressure spots to warmer, low-pressure ones, trying to even things out. These up and down movements, called convection currents, occur all over the Earth. It's the sun's energy powering our weather. Forecasters getting it right rules. The sun's energy creates changes in air temperature, which in turn causes changes in air pressure. Remember, warm air rises like a balloon. When it gets cold, it will sink again soon. Rising air currents are the primary source of energy for storms. Keep your cool. On a hot sunny day, walk barefoot across the grass. Now walk on some asphalt. What do you notice? Take a brisk walk in a black or dark colored t-shirt, then trying it wearing a white one. Which is more comfortable and why? Weather on the wing. Convection currents are invisible, but a feathered friend can help you see them at work. Hawks often take advantage of these rising currents to lift them higher with less effort. If you watch hawks soaring high in the sky, you'll see that they glide for long distances without flapping their wings, riding on these currents of warm air. Quick take forecasts. Scenario 1. You are in charge of planning your school's Welcome to Spring ice cream party, held outdoors every year. Considering what you know about different surfaces and the sun, and what you know about ice cream, where on the school grounds should you hold the party? What time of day would be best, and what should you do if the sunrise is red on the morning of the event? See pages 25 to 26. Answer. Avoid setting up your tables near the school buildings or on pavement because those surfaces absorb heat. You'll be cooler on the soccer field. Start your party early in the morning, the coolest part of the day. If the sky is red at sunrise, be prepared to move the event indoors. 2. You are planning your family's annual summer reunion at your favorite park. There are 2 pavilions you can choose from. One is conveniently located next to the parking lot, which is paved. The second one is further away, but is next to the lake and surrounded by grass. Both offer shade. Where are people going to be more comfortable? Answer number 2. Although shade will keep both locations comfortable, the pavilion near the lake will be a little cooler. The water helps to cool the air, and so does the grass. The paved parking lot adds to the heat, so the pavilion next to it could get pretty uncomfortable on a hot summer day. Ask Mark, why does the news make such a big fuss about heat waves? Hot weather can make it harder to breathe, and extreme heat makes your heart work harder to help cool off your body. Older people and people with health problems related to breathing and heart conditions need to take special care on hot days, not too much sun or moving around. Drinking lots of water, staying inside, especially if it's air-conditioned, help. When the temperature soars, make a point of checking on older relatives and neighbors to make sure they are comfortable. They'll appreciate it. Weather records. The hottest temperature in North America was measured in Death Valley, California at 134 degrees Fahrenheit on July 10, 1913. It is very close to the world's record of 136 degrees Fahrenheit recorded in the Sahara Desert of North Africa in 1922. Thanks for joining us. This is the end of part 2. Ends on page 45.